Hello all, it is 7 p.m. and what they tell us is the 15th of December 2024. And it won't be long before mankind is celebrating, recognising, resonating with the solstice, quickly followed by human beings celebrating Christmas. The title of this upload is Stop and Take a Breath. I'm Bazzzilll, broadcasting truth and therapy, BBTT. And got a couple of things I want to talk to you about today. But as I said, the title is Stop and Take a Breath. And one of the things that has inspired me is we got to stop calling hieroglyphics Egyptian hieroglyphics when they're found in such far-flung places as Australasia and in America. Can they be called Egyptian hieroglyphics? I say this because when I look at the ancient megalithic structures, they were worldwide. They're still worldwide. They might come in different sort of forms, but there's pyramids, for instance, on all of the known continents on the planet. I say known deliberately, because we're told there's just 7. However, if you want to expand your horizons a bit, if you pardon the pun, it may well be that there are others that are being held back from us. But these pyramids are on what we're told are the 7 known continents. You'll find hieroglyphics on those far-flung places that I've spoke about. So, to me, those hieroglyphics represent a worldwide language. And when you understand that Egypt, as we now know it, was the land called Kem, then perhaps with some due diligence or whatever, you may come to a greater understanding of what I'm trying to express to you here. I sincerely hope you do. I don't want you to believe a word I say that you hear from me. Don't believe anything. Don't discount a word I say. And remember everything. Remember everything. I said this to somebody the other day. Faith, hope and belief are the 3 things that enslave us, mentally, emotionally and spiritually, and so keep us in fear, denial and ignorance of our true self. I said that to somebody on the 12th. And I'm always talking to you about our true self. I'm always speaking about the difference between human beings and mankind and whatever, but there's been a few things I've seen recently that have had me questioning nature and what is natural. And that's no bad thing. That's no bad thing, people, at all. We should question all the time and question again. Johnny Nash used to sing this song, there are more questions than answers. My mum used to love that. I remember playing that in the flat down Longton Street back in the 70s. There are more questions than answers, pictures in my mind that will not show. There are more questions than answers, and the more I find out, the less I know. That's certainly true about me. Another thing that has been on my mind this week, I see the question posed, when did your awakening begin? What was the thing that started off? And for me anyway, it's difficult to really pinpoint that down to anything. And when I talk about awakening, I'm not talking about spiritual awakening. I'm talking about an awakening on a conscious level, transcending the spiritual aspect of self, the mind, the ego, all that. I'm on about a conscious awakening. And I've been thinking about it, and Jordan Maxwell, must figure there. Mark Passio's Natural Law Seminar, but Philadelphia, but that was 2014. That was only 10 years ago. And I think one of the earliest things that really stick in my mind that I've seen was The Fraud of English History by Michael Abernathy. And if you can find it, I've thoroughly urge you to go and look that up. There was probably stuff for me before that, but that really made me think about things, not least of which, and probably most important of which, because people think this name England is so important. I'm English, you know, but it used to be called Albion by those that were viewing it from afar. Albion, because of the white chalk. But anyway, have a think about, the catalyst for you that started your awakening. It's really interesting to go back and to see, well, it is for me, how this journey started. I know why it started. I didn't understand it at the time, but I do now. Know why it started. And I can remember 20 odd years ago sitting on my sofa when all this sort of information was coming to me, having brought my children up with, a modicum of moral and spiritual values and awarenesses. And when I started to awaken consciously, I sat on my sofa, no shame in telling you this, and we've realised the real lies, how much of a disservice I've done to my children and myself. Because there's so much more to learn. In order to do so, we have to unlearn and be prepared to learn again, which is what I've been doing since I don't know when. Certainly not on a conscious level. Perhaps I have been doing it on a conscious level for most of my life and not been aware of it. I don't know. But there's so much that fascinates me. I've just been watching a bit from the YouTube channel, My Lunch Break. And I cannot recommend him enough, along with John Levi, Jonlevi. And the episode I was watching was about tunnels and tunnels under Egypt, and they really, really fascinate me. Because these tunnels, we're now seeing that they're all over the world. The tunnel that runs from Scotland to Turkey, whatever, and you wonder why, and then you see Derinkulia, and other such underground cities, towns, if you were, in the Turkey area, not too far from Iran. You can't help but wonder. When I look at these pyramids and whatever, which we know, well, I know, I have a knowing and an awareness that they were there to harness etheric energy and share it either worldwide or beyond the world. In the same way that they did in a different scale in Tartarian times. It's interesting. They were wireless then, and we're going wireless again, but under different auspices. Because certainly today, it is so expensive to live on this planet. No, to have, to be living, rather. To be living on this planet. It is so expensive. Mankind simply lives on it. The rest of us are paying to live on it. When I look at all the people that Stanley Meyer, who developed a car engine that ran on water, dead. Rashid Buttar, dead. All these people that bring us something to free us pay the ultimate price, and we soon forget them because something there will always take our attention. That's the bread and circuses of living on Earth, isn't it? That's the bread and circuses of living on Earth. You look into your left, you look to your right. Clowns to the left of me, jokers to the right. Here I am, stuck in the middle with you. Jerry Rafferty. But I can't help but think of all those tunnels that I feel can't be definitive on this. Circumnavigate the Earth underground. Serve many purposes, not least of which as a conduit for the free energy. Veins, the veins of the earth, if you would, but also served as refuge, places of refuge for people in times gone past, which we don't fully understand. All we can do is speculate. When new things are brought to our attention, we can speculate at best. With all good intention, but it is speculation because we really don't know. We really don't know. But that should lead us to keep questioning more. Keep questioning more. Never stop asking questions, people. Never stop challenging yourself. Don't worry about challenging people outside here. We do that all the time. But don't focus on that. Focus on challenging yourself and your belief system. You've got to challenge that. You've got to challenge that. If you don't challenge nothing else. And that is the only way that we will come to awareness. I know that's certainly the case for me. Challenging all that I know, accepted as truth, throughout my life, and continually challenging it. And I'm probably challenging it even more so today than I've ever done in my life. And I've been reflecting on that as well. It's a never-ending journey. There is no destination. There's only the journey. And, I look around me and see how human beings interact with each other, and realise the real lies with my real eyes, how that's the matrix, the false matrix. I'm one of it. I've just seen over the last few days, there was a advertising reel or whatever it was come up on Facebook about this house bungalow with loads of land at the front, at the back, and either side of it houses with the same amount of land had built another house on that land. And I said, what about growing your own food there? And one bloke specifically said, it's not economically viable when you can buy it cheap at the supermarket. Ah, dear. It's all he's thinking about is money, right? And he may well be right. But, another life skill would be lost to us. And that is indicative and really speaks about the matrix. They don't want you having knowledge of how to take responsibility for yourself. They really don't. Ultimate control. How in a relationship, and my mother was in one with my father until she finally broke away. How someone controls you and manipulates your very reality and your understanding of that reality you're in. Many of you out there will understand, or either experience it yourself or seen other people experience it, where one partner, and it doesn't necessarily have to be the man dominating a woman, could be the other way around. I think it was a bloke in Oxford I see recently. Was it Oxford? I'm sure it's southern England somewhere. I see recently where he plucked up the courage to leave his partner, his wife, I think she was, and go and seek help because she was beating him and controlling him and taking all his money. So please don't think it's just ladies or females that fall victim to that. It's not. It's not. And all for different reasons. All for different reasons do things like this happen. But, you must have some understanding of it on a personal level. Either experienced it or seen it. Now try to think how a very, very few people, and it's always only ever been a few people, whether it's today with the Bill Gates and the Faucis of this world and the Elon Musks and whatever, and all those, the Rothschilds, the Rockefellers, Pacious, all those, or in the past, the Roman Emperor, they all listened to one bloke, the Caesar of the time, and they followed his orders, You know, all the Russians listened to Stalin and followed his orders, Hitler, etc., Mao, this, that, and we're all doing it. Just in another post. It was actually doormat. Can't wait till January the 20th, 2025. And I'm assuming that that's when Trump takes over. And it said for this nightmare to end. So I simply wrote, if you think by electing a leader to rule over you and tell you what to think, you're going to be somehow better off, then you're still sleeping. And it's true, my friends. It's true. It's down to you. It's down to us individually. It's down to us individually to wake the fuck up to the true self. And to see all this bollocks and bullshit that goes on outside of us that controls us and keeps us in fear, ignorance and denial of the true self. It's a marvellous, marvellous system. And, you know, it's indicative of the journey that I started certainly 40 years ago, 1984. It's indicative of how far I've come, that I can see this stuff now. And I've gone through loads and loads of different stuff personally and whatever, divorce and whatever, in order that I may come out the other side of all that shit, in order that I may free myself to be myself and to think for myself. Now, I don't say that you've all got to do that same journey that I did in order to come to rub the sleep from your eyes and this, that, and the other. But you've got to do something. You have got to do something. You can't just sit there and wait for Donald Trump to do it for you, or Keir Starmer, or whoever else. It's down to you. They will keep doing you, whoever they are, until you learn what it is to do it yourself. And in order, certainly in as far as my journey goes, in order for that to happen, you've got to let go. And I share this knowledge with people all the time. Tell them how to do it, show them how to do it. And you might have a different way, but I tell them how to let go, to stand in their own power and speak as an equal to the universe and say, take from me all that is not of me and all that no longer serves me. And, you know, the most defiant people have done this and experienced something. Some have sought to understand that experience and gone on with it, and others have gone back to the telly. You know, I can only lead you to knowledge. You have to take that knowledge yourself. That's all anybody can do, lead you to knowledge. And my lunch break and John Levi and people like that lead me to knowledge. And so many others have. Jordan Maxwell, Ian R. Crane, John Anthony West, and William Cooper, and loads of others. I've never ever found anybody that I've listened to that I've agreed with 100%. And I don't expect any of you listening to me, especially if it's your first time here, to agree with me 100%. Don't expect that. Don't want it. Don't need it. It's what you need that's important, not what I need. I'll look after my own needs, and I strongly urge you to look after your own needs, and do not allow another to take control and dominance and power over your needs, whether it be Donald Trump or somebody talking on the internet or your partner or whoever, another. You got to be responsible for the self. That's what it boils down to. And if you don't, then somebody will see your weaknesses and see how easy you are to be manipulated, and they start to control you, seek to control you. I had a spam message the other day saying, I've hacked your account, this, that, and the other, and I've been watching all your internet, this, that, and the other, and if you don't pay X amount of money, I will expose you, looking upon, and saying I've been looking at questionable websites, this, that, and the other, mainly to do with some form of sex in some way, shape or form. And they tried to have some power over me. Absolutely no grounds for that at all. Just deleted it. And I'm not frightened of being exposed to the world, because I don't go about with my words, deeds and actions to deliberately harm or cause loss or injury to another. I don't do that. Everything I do is to empower, enlighten and enable another to their own divinity, to their own true self, and to the power that they individually hold. That's what my channel's about. At the risk of boring you, I don't tire of saying this. You look in my description box and it says, I'm not here to sell you books, DVDs, baseball caps, cups, this, that, and that. If you think that's going to free you, there's plenty of other people out there that are doing that want your hard-earned coin. I don't want your money. Don't need your money, because I know what it is to live. I'm not chasing a living. I'm happy with everything and content and appreciative with everything the universe gives me. If you're not happy with that, then you're still in the spiritual self. And the spirit will always answer your wants and try to feed them for you. The universe has always provided my needs. And I'll be 64 in less than a month's time. I live to speak of that and tell the tale. I have a humble home. And I'm happy with what I've got. I'm content with what I've got. I don't decorate every year, every 2 years, every 3 years, every 5 years. Why would I do that? If I keep the house clean, if I keep my body clean as I can, with that which I ingest, poison air, poison food, poison water, this, that, and that, why would I need anything else? Can't take it with me. I don't want to take it with me. I don't want to be carrying shit around that is of no use to me. I just want that which I hold in my heart, intention, that which I hold in my awareness. That's enough for me, and it should be enough for you. Get rid of your TVs like Rick's told you twice in this broadcast. Because really, people, nobody cares. We say we care. But, you know, when pushed, we can see the evidence of how far you're willing to take that care and empathy. And the reason is because you don't give it to yourself. You don't care enough about yourself and whatever. I do. Through many trials and battles and traumas, I've learned to care for myself. It all starts with me. And that's not being narcissistic. It all starts with me. And once I get me in an equilibrium of balance, then and everything else, then I can give that which I give to myself to others. That's the only way it works, people. It's the only way it works. But they won't tell you that. They won't tell you that. They keep you under their control. That Frank Sinatra song, I've got you under my skin. And they have, with their jabs and this, that and the other. And watching something today about Pepsi and Coca-Cola doing a deal with Bill Gates, and you're drinking it and all now. If you weren't drinking the poison before, you're drinking it now. All that shit, they don't have to put it in a vaccine, you drink it. Your Bacardi and Cokes, your whiskey and Coke, your vodka and Coke, rum and Coke, this and Coke on its own. Everything's poisoned. You've just seen that with the milk and the Bovia, or whatever it is, that they're doing. How much more evidence do you need? That's the question. What will it take for us to wake up? That's the question, people. Why do you need to vote for somebody to grant you the freedoms that are yours simply by being born of your mother into this world? Do you sit and ponder those questions? I do. Born onto an earth that I have to pay to live on. That Native American proverb saying, how can you own the air, the land and the water? You can't. You can only use it. And what defines us all is how we use stuff. The intention behind what we do when we use stuff. That defines us all. It's coming up to the solstice. It is, to the best of my awareness, a natural cycle. In perpetuate, you know what I mean. It's a natural cycle. What are you going to do about that natural cycle? Are you going to recognise it? Stand in resonance with it? Or are you going to celebrate the bread and circuses that is Christmas and completely miss the message of the natural cycles because they've been corrupted and bastardised to serve an agenda to control you? And look how they control you. How many of your Christmas presents have you brought off Amazon? Have a word with yourself. Have a word with yourself. Don't tell me, don't try and convince me that you're awake. I've just seen another high profile speaker advertising his book. Get it from Amazon. Don't listen to these people. Call them out, ladies and gentlemen. If you're like me and can see the beast for what it is, then call them out. Don't say they're all wonderful, love and lighters, this, that and the other, and they're selling their book on Amazon or something like that. Don't tell me you're awake if you're buying off Amazon or something like that. Stop and take a breath, people. Stop and take a breath and take stock. If this message resonates with you, share the message. Don't share me. Share the message. I'm not the panacea to the ills of the world or to your ills. But all the while I hold breath, and possibly beyond that, I will, with all good intention, seek to share knowledge and awareness that empowers, enlightens, and enables you to come to knowing and awareness of the true you, and not this physical man or woman or this spiritual mirror image of that. You are so much more than that. Wake up from this nightmare. Stop and take a breath. The message resonates. Share the message. Don't share me. Share the message. Palamia, thank you. In Lakesh, in you I see an enemy. Mitaku o yasin. We are all related. We are all relatives. And I tell you, people, despite all the different skin colours, hair colours, genders, eye colours, political allegiances, sporting allegiances, etc., tell you we're all connected.